There was a moment today, perhaps while you were going about your ordinary routine, unaware of the extraordinary conversation happening in dimensions beyond what your physical eyes can perceive, when something profound shifted in the architecture of your romantic destiny. The angels who walk beside you, those faithful companions of your soul's journey, gathered in the invisible council chambers where decisions about human hearts are tenderly considered, and they mark this day as significant in your love story. You might have felt it as a subtle stirring in your chest, a sudden warmth that moved through you without explanation. Or perhaps you noticed nothing at all because the most powerful transformations often arrive wearing the disguise of ordinary moments. But make no mistake, the decision was made, the seal was placed, and the wheels of divine timing began turning in your favor in ways you cannot yet fully comprehend. This isn't about manifesting or forcing or desperately trying to make something happen through sheer willpower, because what's unfolding now exists in a realm beyond human effort, in that sacred space where grace meets readiness and miracles stop being miracles and become simply the natural consequence of spiritual alignment. Your angels have been watching your journey, observing not just your actions but the quiet evolution of your heart, noticing the moments when you chose healing over bitterness, growth over stagnation, faith over fear, and today they saw that you had reached a particular threshold of readiness that opened a door previously closed to you. Think about the nature of divine timing, how it never arrives when we demand it, but always appears exactly when our soul is prepared to receive what we've been asking for, and recognize that this decision made today is the universe's way of saying that your preparation period is complete, that the lessons have been learned, that the old chapters have been properly closed, and that you now stand on the threshold of something your heart has been quietly building toward even in moments when you felt utterly lost and alone. There's a frequency that true love vibrates at, a particular resonance that can only be accessed when both people have done their inner work, cleared their ancestral patterns, forgiven their past, and opened themselves to receiving love not as a desperate need, but as a celebration of wholeness meeting wholeness. Today's decision was about matching you with that frequency, about aligning the cosmic tumblers, so that the lock that has kept your deepest romantic fulfillment just out of reach can finally click open. Your angels don't make these decisions lightly or randomly. They operate according to laws of spiritual readiness that factor in timelines, karma, soul contracts, and the intricate web of cause and effect that connects every being. When you feel that inexplicable sense of anticipation rising in your chest, when you catch yourself smiling for no reason, when you notice that your heart feels lighter even though nothing visible has changed, understand that you're sensing the energetic ripples of today's decision moving through your consciousness. Something was decided today, and whether you believe it or not, whether you feel worthy of it or not, whether you understand it or not, the angels have set into motion a sequence of events that will bring your romantic destiny into manifestation in the physical realm. Trust this. Even when doubt creeps in, even when old fears whisper that nothing ever works out for you, even when your logical mind tries to dismiss this as wishful thinking, because what's happening now operates beyond the jurisdiction of your doubts and fears. Your angels have never been silent, but rather you've been learning their language, slowly decoding the alphabet of divine communication that speaks through synchronicity, intuition, dreams, and those moments of knowing that arrive without logical explanation. Look back over the recent weeks and months with new eyes, with the understanding that what seemed like random occurrences were actually carefully orchestrated signs pointing toward this very moment, breadcrumbs left by beings who love you beyond human comprehension, and who have been gently, persistently guiding you toward readiness for what's coming. Perhaps you've been seeing repeated number sequences, those angel numbers that appear on clocks, receipts, license plates, and screens, catching your attention just long enough to create a moment of pause, a brief interruption in the flow of unconscious living that whispers there's something more happening here than meets the eye. Or maybe you've experienced unexpected encounters, running into people who triggered memories or reflections that needed to surface, conversations that seemed casual but planted seeds of insight that later bloomed into revelations about your patterns in love, your fears, your unhealed places, your readiness to receive differently than you have before. Your angels work through people, through situations, through the books that fall off shelves, the songs that play at precisely the right moment, the strangers who say exactly what you needed to hear, because they understand that you're navigating a physical world and need physical markers to reassure you that the invisible support is real. There have been dreams, haven't there? Dreams where you felt presence, a warmth, a sense of being held or guided, dreams that left you with feelings rather than clear memories, dreams that seem to be preparing you emotionally for something your conscious mind hasn't yet grasped. And what about that inner knowing, that quiet voice beneath the noise of fear and doubt, that part of you that has remained steadfast in believing that love is coming, that your story isn't over, that despite disappointments and heartbreak, something beautiful is being prepared for you? That voice is not delusion or wishful thinking. It's your soul reading the energetic blueprints that your angels are constantly updating based on your growth and choices. Every time you chose yourself, every time you honored your worth, every time you walked away from what wasn't right even when staying seemed easier, every time you did the uncomfortable work of looking at your patterns and healing your wounds, you were answering the call that your angels were sending, responding to guidance you might not have consciously recognized, but your soul absolutely understood. The signs have been there in the sudden endings that cleared space for new beginnings, in the delays that protected you from wrong timing, in the disappointments that redirected you toward better paths, in the periods of solitude that allowed you to rebuild your relationship with yourself. If you feel a stirring recognition reading these words, if something in your chest is saying, yes, I've felt these things, I've seen these signs, then you're beginning to realize that you haven't been imagining the guidance, you haven't been alone in your journey. And the decision made today is simply the culmination of a process that's been unfolding all along. Allow yourself to acknowledge this, to honor the fact that you've been receiving divine support even in your darkest moments. And let that acknowledgement open your awareness even further to the signs that will continue coming as this new chapter unfolds. The decision made today in the realm of angels carries implications that reach deep into the chambers of your heart, into places where old wounds have been quietly healing, where hope has been carefully rebuilding itself after being shattered, where the capacity to trust and open and receive has been slowly recovering from the damage of past disappointments. What this means, in the most profound sense, is that your heart has been deemed ready, not perfect, not without fear, not completely healed in every way, but ready in the way that matters most, ready to receive a love that won't require you to diminish yourself, betray your truth, or abandon your needs. The angels see what you sometimes cannot see, that beneath the protective walls you've built, beneath the cynicism that sometimes creeps in, beneath the exhaustion from trying and failing and trying again, there exists a heart that has done the sacred work of transformation. You've alchemized your pain into wisdom, your loneliness into self-companionship, your rejection into self-acceptance, your abandonment into self-loyalty, and that alchemy has shifted your vibration in ways that now make you compatible with a completely different quality of love than you've experienced before. This decision means that the universe is about to match you with someone who has also been on their own journey of becoming, someone who has also faced their shadows, healed their patterns, and emerged ready for something real and deep and transformative. It means that the karmic cycles are complete, that you've learned what you needed to learn from past relationships, that you've broken the patterns that kept pulling you toward unavailable or incompatible partners, and that you now stand in a new energetic space where different kinds of people and experiences can find you. Your heart knows this on some level, which is why you might feel a strange mixture of excitement and vulnerability, anticipation and fear, because opening to love when you've been hurt requires courage of a particular kind, the courage to trust again without guarantees, to hope again without protection, to believe again in possibilities that previous experiences seem to disprove. The angels are not bringing you something that will hurt you. They're bringing you something that will challenge you to receive love in its healthy, whole, mature form, which is actually harder for many people than receiving love in its broken, dramatic, chaotic form, because real love asks you to stay present, to communicate, to be seen, to let someone truly know you, and all of that requires a vulnerability that feels riskier than the familiar patterns of push and pull, chase and run, intensity and distance. This decision means your heart is being prepared for sacred partnership, not perfect partnership. Because perfection is an illusion, but partnership where two whole people come together to create something greater than either could create alone, where love becomes not a completion of lack, but an expansion of wholeness. Feel how your heart responds to this possibility. Notice that there's a part of you that wants to believe but is afraid to believe, and speak gently to that part. Reassure it that it's safe to open again, that the angels wouldn't orchestrate this if you weren't ready to hold it. While you've been focused on who might be coming into your life, the angels have been equally focused on who you're becoming. Because the truth that spiritual guides understand and humans often forget is that the right person can only arrive when you become the right version of yourself to recognize and receive them. You're not the same person you were a year ago, not the same person who entered your last relationship, not the same person who once tolerated less than you deserved, or who believed that love required sacrifice of self. Something profound has shifted in your internal landscape, in the way you see yourself, in what you now understand to be non-negotiable, in your capacity to choose yourself even when choosing yourself means standing alone for a while longer. You've been through an invisible metamorphosis, the kind that doesn't announce itself with external markers, but fundamentally rewrites the code of how you operate in the world, how you relate to others, what you're willing to accept, what you know you deserve. The person you're becoming knows their worth not as an abstract concept, but as a lived reality, can spot red flags that you once would have explained away or minimized, can walk away from situations that aren't right without second-guessing yourself into staying, can be alone without feeling incomplete because you've cultivated an inner companionship that external relationships enhance rather than create. You've learned to listen to your intuition, that subtle guidance system that speaks through feelings and sensations rather than logic and words. And you've learned to trust it even when it contradicts what you want to believe or what others are telling you. The angels see this evolution, the slow, steady emergence of someone who is genuinely ready for mature love. And that's precisely why today's decision was made. Because you've reached a point of readiness that you've been working toward even in moments when you felt like you were moving backward or standing still. You're becoming someone who understands that love isn't meant to be suffering, that healthy relationships don't require you to constantly prove your worth, that the right person won't make you feel anxious or uncertain about where you stand. You're becoming someone who can receive love without sabotaging it, who can be vulnerable without losing yourself, who can maintain your individuality while building partnership, who can communicate needs without shame or apology, who can hold space for conflict without catastrophizing or abandoning ship. This version of you is magnetic in ways your previous versions weren't. Not because you're more attractive or successful or accomplished, but because you're more authentic, more grounded, more clear, more boundaried, more whole. The person coming toward you is responding to this frequency, drawn by the vibration of someone who has done their inner work and is ready for something real. Recognize yourself in this description. Honor how far you've traveled. Acknowledge the courage it took to choose growth over comfort, healing over familiarity, truth over illusion, and understand that becoming this person was always the true purpose of your journey, with romantic love being a beautiful consequence rather than the goal itself. Now that you know a decision was made today, now that you're aware of the shift happening in the invisible architecture of your romantic destiny, something crucial changes in how the unfolding occurs. Because consciousness activates acceleration, and awareness opens doors that remain locked to those who move through life asleep to the spiritual dimensions of their experience. You've just stepped into a new timeline, not through visualization or affirmation alone, but through the simple act of recognizing what the angels have been orchestrating, and that recognition creates a resonance that draws your destiny toward you with increased velocity and decreased resistance. What happens next is both mysterious and inevitable, a dance between divine timing and human readiness, between spiritual orchestration and physical manifestation, between what the angels have decided and how you choose to show up for what's coming. You'll begin noticing more signs, more synchronicities, more moments of feeling guided or supported or reassured, because now that you're consciously aware of the process, you'll be more attuned to the evidence of it unfolding. There will be shifts in your external circumstances, perhaps subtle at first, opportunities arising, invitations extending, paths opening that weren't available before, all designed to move you geographically, socially, or energetically into position for the encounter that's being arranged. The angels work through natural means, through what appears to be coincidence or luck or good timing, because they respect the laws of physical reality even as they operate from beyond it, and they orchestrate meetings that feel organic rather than forced, magical rather than manipulated. You might feel called to go somewhere you wouldn't normally go, to say yes to something you typically decline, to reach out to someone, to take a different route, to be in a particular place at a particular time. And these subtle nudges are the angels guiding you into alignment with what's meant to find you. But what happens next also depends on you maintaining the vibration that made you ready, continuing the practices that brought you to this point, staying open without becoming desperate, hopeful without becoming attached, clear without becoming rigid, because the energy you hold in this in-between time is crucial to how smoothly the manifestation occurs. The angels have made their decision. set the wheels in motion, arrange the pieces on the cosmic chessboard. But you still have free will, still have choice, still have the power to either meet what's coming with grace or to sabotage it with fear. There's something else you need to know, something about the specific nature of this connection that's coming, something about timing and signs, and the exact way you'll recognize this person when they appear. But that's a revelation for another moment, a mystery that will unfold when you're ready to receive it. Because some truths must be discovered rather than told, experienced rather than explained, lived rather than learned. If these words have stirred something within you, if you feel the truth of them resonating in that quiet space beneath your thoughts, then the angels ask you to honor this moment by placing one hand on your heart and simply breathing with the knowing that you are supported, guided, and deeply loved by forces you cannot always see, but can always trust. This is your confirmation. This is your sign.